sun-splashed day in sunny Southern California as the Houston Oilers visit the Los Angeles Raiders at the Coliseum. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Hicks, along with the former Raider Bob GOLIC, as the Los Angeles Raiders continue to try and dig themselves out of an early hole and trying to do it amidst the controversy of Jeff Hostetler and Art Shell. What kind of effect has it had on this team, if any, Bob?
Well, first of all, I know the two individuals, Art Shell and Hostetler. If they say nothing happened, then nothing happened. Secondly, the Raiders are a family. They believe themselves that way. When they're attacked from the outside, i.e. the media, they have a tendency to circle the wagons and just kind of like fend for themselves.
As for the Houston Oilers, they got big problems of their own. They'll start their third different quarterback of the season. There he is. Billy Joe Tolliver gets the nod today.
Right. Cody Carlson still a little bit tender on that left knee, so they're going to have to go with the start with Billy Joe. His first start as an Oiler.
Well, the Raiders kick off. Jeff Jager. Houston won the toss, elected to receive. The Oilers bring it out. Excellent kick return. Steve Jackson brings it out as we set the offense for Houston. Billy Joe Tolliver, his very first start for the Houston Oilers. He has started for 3 NFL teams now. Up front, he'll need better protection. The Oilers have given up an NFL high 31 sacks. Eric Norgard gets his second straight start for Kevin Donnelly at right guard. The featured back, Gary Brown, in his second game back since the injured ankle. The array of great wideouts always on hand. This time for Billy Joe Tolliver, and Pat Carter will come in as a muscle offensive set for Houston and Tyrone. So Billy Joe Tolliver with good field position at the 40 to begin the game. And to the air right away, near side, Haywood Jeffries, and excellent Raider defensive play by Terry McDaniel. The Raiders on defense. The new addition up front, unrestricted free agent Jerry Ball over from Detroit. Rob Fredrickson is the left linebacker in his 4th game as a starter. He's just a rookie out of Michigan State. The big defensive change, Patrick Bates gets the start for Eddie Anderson. That breaks a streak of 78 straight games. Lionel Washington comes in as the Pirate. Eddie Anderson has a groin injury. Gain of 4 for Haywood Jeffries. Billy Joe Tolliver 1 for 1. Second down and 6. And this time on the ground, it's Gary Brown. Brown up to midfield, close to a first down. Brought down by Rob Fredrickson. Gary Brown.
Play for the Houston Oilers.
Just short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and maybe less than a yard.
Timeout. Los Angeles. That's their first charge timeout.
And the Raiders call a timeout.
What's not hurting?
3rd down and short for Houston. And to give up the middle, Gary Brown has the first down for the Oilers, who scored on their first possession for the first time all season long last week on Monday night. So very important for Houston to put some points on the board early if they're to be successful. As we look at the stats for Gary Brown, the great season last year, over 1,000 yards, and really what was a late season relief appearance for Lorenzo White, who got hurt. He's missed a couple of games this season, but he has to be healthy if the Houston Oilers offense is to get back on track.
He was a big surprise for him last year when Lorenzo, who's been a mainstay for that Oiler offense for a number of years, when he got hurt, Gary had to step up and make things happen. The Oilers very, very pleased with his performance.
I don't think the Oilers will be particularly pleased with that spot. It appeared that Brown had the first down, but now it'll bring up 4th down for Jack Pardee. And here comes Rich Camarillo. So the Oilers fail to score on their first possession again.
I'll tell you what, I played when I came into the league in '79 with the New England Patriots. Rich was our punter back then, so he's about as old as I am. But the one thing I was impressed with, I watched him at practice at that age, kicking the ball. I saw it go 70, 75 yards in the air. Incredible leg strength. And then he always had a pretty good roll. And here you see him still kicking well and playing as an old guy.
He's at the 35. Tim Brown, the all-time leader in punt return yardage for the Raiders, will let this one sail over his head. So Camarillo gets a big foot into that punt, and the Raiders will come out for their first series, 1st and 10 from the 20. And Jeff Hostetler brings the Raiders out. Excellent week last week. 21 of 30, 204 yards, couple of touchdown passes in the winner of Atlanta. Revamped offensive line up front. Jenkins and Skrepanek get their second straight starts at the tackle position for Hostetler up front. In the backfield, Harvey Williams, 107 yards last week against Atlanta. They hope he continues it today. The great Tim Brown, 130 yards in reception last week. And the Rocket, Raghib Ismail, comes in the three wideout Bear offense for Los Angeles. And the first give, Harvey Williams up the middle. Quick hitter for 5 yards for Williams, brought down by Ray Childress, the 5-time Pro Bowler in the Houston defensive front. He's alongside Kenny Davidson, who did not know if he was going to start as late as last night, but he'll go even with the injured knee he hurt on Monday night. Al Smith at middle linebacker is the leading tackler for Houston. The second leading tackler on the team is Blaine Bishop, who once again gets the start for Bubba McDowell, who might be back next week, for sure the following week with an injured knee. Steve Jackson and Bo Orlando come in the nickel and dime package. Second down and 5 for Los Angeles. Williams again up the middle, and this time a yard or two. But the 107 yards last week on the ground by Harvey Williams in his first start as a Raider. The last time the Raiders rushed for 100 yards, that performance turned in by Eric Dickerson nearly 2 years ago.
You know, and interestingly enough, in talking to him yesterday, we upset him a tad because we told him that, you know, you run a lot like Marcus Allen. And, you know, in that little controversy where he came into Kansas, Marcus came to KC, and Harvey went out. He doesn't really like the comparison. He feels that he runs more like Eric Dickerson in a straight up and down style.
Pick up of a couple for Williams. Third down short, call it 2. Quick drop by Hostetler, left side, and it is complete to Raghib Ismail. And Ismail moves the chains. First down and 10 for Los Angeles.
Okay, we're with the LA Raiders, right? They're going to go deep. They're going to throw it deep down the field. No, I don't think so. They really, you know, talking to Art Shell yesterday, he told us, and we go, you know, everybody knows you got the vertical game. Because, you know, we have the vertical game, but we also have this varied passing attack. It's just that most of us haven't seen it. But as of last week, they really worked it well. Short stuff to Rocket, to Tim Brown, and especially little dump passes to Harvey Williams.
From the 34, Brown in motion to the near side. Harvey Williams picks up 3 or 4. Harvey Williams not only carried the football 27 times last week for Los Angeles, also came up with 8 passes as the Raiders continue to look for the balance between the run and pass.
Right, and that has been the big knock on them, that they really, early on in the season, everybody said you can't win with the running back by committee, by swinging the guys in and out. Ty Montgomery doing a great job early on, but they're letting Harvey take control, get into the flow of the game, get into the feel of the game. I think that's important in any position.
Second down and 6. Hostetler looping it down the middle of the field. That was Alexander Wright. Incomplete.
I'll tell you what, we're going to see a lot of this by the Houston Oilers. The one thing that you're seeing with the Oiler team is that the defense, early on, Dishman had some disparaging words about their offense. They've decided that they have to, as a defense, become more aggressive. You see the pressure up front. Number 90.
Kenny
Davidson, the guy with the injured knee, coming up and putting a lot of pressure on. But they are going to be a very aggressive team. Kenny Davidson, we asked him, I said, are you starting? He goes, hey, we're 1-6. I have to start. The guy has a lot of pride. He's going to be a big part of this game.
Third down now for the Raiders. Early movement by Davidson along the left side of the defensive line for Houston. Incomplete. Hostetler may have had a free one, but we'll wait and see what referee Tom White indicates.
Well, this pressure by the, let's see what he has to say here.
And it is
pretty much
Houston.
Straightforward, yeah. You'd have to wonder a little bit about that because, as you said earlier, we're starting off the Raiders for the second week now.
Offsides, number 90 defense. That's 5 yards. Still third down.
I'm sorry, Kenny, we jinxed you. but as you said, you know, he gets out there and get a little jump on it, just a little bit too quick off the ball. Obviously, I think that he's feeling, as a player, if you're injured a little bit, you know, you try to make up with technique what you may be losing in physical ability.
So instead of 3rd and 6, 3rd and 1, Harvey Williams picks up the first down and more. He's across midfield. Al Smith and Chris Dishman combined to make the stop on Harvey Williams in his 4th year out of LSU.
You know, we talk about Harvey Williams and his ability to run, but also the blocking. You know, you see Skrepanek there on the right side. Andrew Pancho Glover coming across in motion, turning up and sealing the linebacker to the inside, really just clearing the way. that aggressive Oiler defense, which may work good in passing situations, sometimes leaves holes open in the running attack.
Just across midfield, 1st and 10. Hostetler back to pass. Left side complete. And that is Alexander Wright with his 6th reception of the season. And once again, Hostetler using the short game to move the ball up the field.
Yeah, when you talk about the Raiders, you don't really talk about ball control passing attacks, but they have seen it. These guys, and these are burners. These are the fastest guys you're going to find in the NFL just about as a group. You know, we talked to Tim Brown. We said, you know, because he's a fast guy, we asked, he said, are you the fastest? Who can you beat on that of those wide receivers? He goes, well, I know I can beat Darryl Hobbs. That's about it.
There's Tim Brown in motion to the near side. 2nd down and 5. Harvey Williams again. 1st down. All the way down to the Houston Oilers 35. Gain of 10 for Harvey Williams. Finally brought down in the Houston secondary by Darrell Lewis.
Well, this is a great vision by Harvey. So you see the offensive line just kind of pushing the Oilers offense or defensive line to the right. They get them flowing in that direction. They have the ability. They're just overplaying everything. They're playing so aggressively. They have to, in their aggressiveness, remember to stay home. They have responsibilities. They have gaps that they have to be responsible for.
Hostetler wants to throw again on 1st down. Plenty of time. Will run and will drop down at the 30-yard line for a gain of 4 or 5 yards. Eddie Robinson made the stop. So Hostetler just as big a weapon at times as Harvey Williams has been. Hostetler can run it and run with the best of them as far as quarterbacks are concerned.
Well, you know, we watched him earlier in the season. He was going through, had some injuries, wasn't moving well. Ankle was bothering him. Now it looks like, and talking to him, he's feeling much better. Art says that he's feeling much better. And you can see in his movement last week also that he's really getting around and able to scramble and throw the ball at the same time.
10th play of this drive. The gain of 4 for Hostetler, 2nd down and 6. And Harvey Williams this time stopped almost at the line of scrimmage by Houston as the surge was led by Kenny Davidson. The Houston defense says it feels like it's been playing good enough for the Oilers to be 5-2. They're 1-6, but defensively, Jeff Fisher and his unit feel that they have not let down on their side of the football.
Well, the Raiders come in with basically an OT, one of those Washington OT type of plays, bringing the backside tackle around. See Jeff Fisher, their defense coordinator for the Oilers. Kenny Davidson making a great play there, avoiding the block, squeezing through. Tough competitor.
3rd down and 4 for Los Angeles. Ball in just inside the 30-yard line. Hostetler pressured, finds a way out, chased by Kenny Davidson, who gets a hit on Hostetler, and it's incomplete, intended for James Jett. That'll bring up 4th down, and we'll see Jeff Jager, the field goal unit.
Well, the first person you saw in was Blaine Bishop coming on a safety blitz, coming up from the outside. You see Haas dropping back, looking downfield. You see Blaine Bishop come in from the right side, throw him off, force him out of the pocket. Kenny Davidson doesn't look like he's hurting very much.
So Jeff Jager on to attempt what will be a 46-yard field goal. That would equal his longest of the season. He had 3 of 4 last week, including a 46-yarder in the victory over Atlanta. Gossett doesn't even have a chance to hold as flags come in on the play.
I'll tell you what, Jeff Jager jumped on that ball at the last minute. Everybody was just standing there. I think everybody had shades of the Rams game when Robert Bailey picked up the ball that was laying dead.
Let's see if we can detect what happened. And that is Dan Turk, number 67, who was just barreled over by Houston.
Mike Teeter right on his nose. I'll tell you what, that is one of the funnest jobs you can have on a football field, is being the nose tackle over a long snapper, because he's got his head down. You know, as soon as the ball snapped, boom, forearm right in the mask. It's a good feeling. Usually, if you can get him to roll over backwards, you know, you feel good about yourself. You know, you step on him as you go through. Next day, the coaches are all excited.
Well, it appears from the powwow by Tom White and the rest of the officials and the now reaction of boos from the Coliseum crowd, it appeared first they were cheering that maybe the Raiders would have the 1st down if the penalty was against Houston.
Well, one of the situations, and I've run across this also in the game, when you get a long snapper.
And it is against the Oilers.
Okay. The point I was going to make, though, a lot of times with veteran snappers, they'll get down there.
Encroachment. encroachment, nose guard, defense, 5 yards. That's a first down.
So costly penalty for the Houston on Mike Teeter, who was prematurely offsides. First down and 10 for the Raiders. Now at the Houston 23. So new life as far as a touchdown possibility goes for Hostetler. This one complete to the near side to the tight end, Andrew Glover. And with a good second effort, he gets down to the 20-yard line before he's finally wrestled down by Marcus Robertson, the free safety.
We know there's good reason that these Raiders are going with the quicker shots right now. And talking to Jeff Hostetler, we asked him about Jenkins and Skrupnik attack. He goes, these young guys, you have to get them some confidence. If he can get the quick release, make some completions, and not get hit, that gives those offensive tackles a feeling like, hey, we're doing a great job here. A young guy, you got to build up his confidence, and then he's going to go out there and fight his butt off for it.
Gain of 5, quick pitch. Harvey Williams inside the 20, inside the 15, close to another first down. Raiders have to get to the 13 to pick up another one, but Harvey Williams seemingly in the zone again. That's what he called last week's 27-carry, 107-yard effort. And he says he needs to get the ball at least 15, 20 times to get the feel for the game.
And as I said before, that goes with any position. When I played with anybody, if they take you in and out when they start doing these changes, it really breaks your rhythm. You can't get into the flow and the feel of the game.
Third down, a long one. Harvey Williams picks up the first down. Dives his way down close to the 6-yard line. First and goal for Los Angeles. Baron Worthen on the stop for Houston. 5:15 left in the first quarter. Williams already 41 yards on 7 carries.
Having a great day. And you know what? He's really getting a lot of work up front. A lot of holes opened up front by the offensive linemen. And also we're seeing Tom Rathman. He's obviously brought in here to be a blocker. He's doing a great job today.
Harvey Williams again inside the 5, fighting his way down to the 2-yard line. Second down and goal it'll be for there. And Houston, number 8 in the league in defense, third against the pass, but if there is a vulnerable spot on Houston's defense, it might be up front, where Jeff Fisher told us we are a little small up there, and thus they're 26th against the run in the NFL.
Again, you're seeing the same thing. The defense, the Oiler defense, very aggressive, coming to the side of the play where the ball is committed. As they get to that point, the Raiders offensive lineman will seal them to that side. Harvey Williams, with his quickness and his ability to make those cuts, is cutting back and just finding little gaps to the backside.
Timeout on the field. Hostetler will go discuss it. Raiders with second down and goal. We'll be back to the Coliseum scoreless. Best venues for Halloween costumes as you look at some of the pumpkin carving, but some of these costumes that will be showing as this game goes on are hard to believe.
And then they happen just about every week too. So
excellent drive for Los Angeles. This will be the 16th play. Second down and goal from the 2. Both tight ends, Glover and Williams, in the short yardage set. Harvey Williams, touchdown Los Angeles. Third touchdown on the ground for Harvey Williams. 5th of the year, and the Raiders are up 6-0.
That is some great push up front. The left side of the line, Max Montoya in at tight end. So you've got Montoya, you've got Jenkins, the young tackle, pushing on that side against Latham, an undersized defensive end, getting a little force and able to give Harvey Williams the crack that he needs to get in. Right now, we're really looking at the situation where the Raiders offensive line is just physically in control of the defense.
Jeff Jager pushes the extra point in. Harvey Williams with his touchdown has given the Raiders a 7-0 lead. Coliseum in Los Angeles. The Raiders up 7-0 off a very impressive drive. They chewed up almost 9 minutes on the clock. And this will be taken by Steve Jackson at the 5. And he lost the football at the 25. But it appears the officials have called it down. Greg Beekert on the stop of Jackson.
We've got a flag back at the 30-yard line, which would indicate an offsides on the kicking team.
And that's the indication for Tom White. To elaborate on that Los Angeles drive, 8:51 they had the ball, and Harvey Williams is halfway to 100 yards. He had 10 carries for 50 on the drive.
Offsides, number 37 on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
Shirts come off on some of these guys around here. You're going to see some of the most unusual tattoo art. I mean, huge. I saw one guy had the whole peristyle, end of the Coliseum, tattooed across his back with a Super Bowl trophy right on his spine, probably about 6 inches tall.
You're noticing these things as a player on the field. You're looking up and seeing the illustrated fans.
Well, Dan, my last year I spent a lot of time standing on the sidelines thinking about things. And
well, Jager will be back at the 25. And he'll re-kick. Steve Jackson is the deep man for Houston. And he'll come up this time from the 17. Across the 30. And Jackson brought down at about the 38. Return of 21 by Jackson, brought down by Dan Land. So Houston will have another shot on its second series. They trailed at 7-0 this afternoon, going with Billy Joe Tolliver as their starter. It's his 29th NFL start. He started 2 games for Atlanta last year for a total of 9 in his 3 years there. They think that Billy Joe, with a fiery type of charismatic attitude he has, he might be the answer on the road as the Oilers try to break a 3-game losing streak. He'll start from the 39. And Tolliver complete to Gary Brown of the backfield. Brown reaching for first down yardage. He'll be short. Winston Moss makes the stop for Los Angeles.
Well, a lot of times you're going to see a guy used as a safety valve, a dump guy. That one was set right from the beginning. Billy Joe dropped back, and I think his eyes were locked on Gary coming out of the backfield. See Gary going to the left of your screen. Billy Joe's eyes never left him. Knew he was going to be open. Give him the ball, let him use his power. Small in stature, compact, but good power.
Gain of 9 for Brown, 2nd and 1. This is Brown on the ground. First down yardage and more, all the way down to the Raider 41-yard line. Gain of 11 for Brown, who really took a lot of the responsibility for the loss to Philadelphia.
You were the guy that caused a stop in a drive or the loss of the game.
1st and 10. Tolliver with plenty of time, fires it over the middle, incomplete. It was intended for Webster Slaughter. Pretty good defensive play by Albert Lewis, the former chief of 11 seasons, who signed on as an unrestricted free agent with the Raiders this past March.
Yeah, Albert just stepped in to the starting role a couple of weeks ago for Lionel Washington. See the breaking across the middle and just staying with the receiver very, very closely. Slaughter all over Slaughter's back. Was able to get the hand in. Good concentration. Just being able to reach in, keep the hand off the receiver, and knock the ball away.
Tolliver, the draw to Gary Brown, and Brown with some good yardage. Finally brought down by the big cat Chester McLaughlin. The injured Raider on the field. We'll check on him when we come back. Attending to Chester McLaughlin, the #1 pick, 3rd-year player out of Clemson, and really has had some big problems with injuries that have slowed his early development. But Art Shell called him the next coming to Cortez Kennedy last year.
At number 91, you see him coming in from the right side of the screen. Can't even say, he just might have been just the impact with the turf that caused a little bit of a strain on the knee or the leg, but it doesn't look like it's serious at this point.
Scott Davis is coming to replace McLaughlin in the defensive line up front for the Raiders, as Tolliver not able to get it to Pat Coleman. And that will bring up 4th down for Houston. James Trapp on the coverage on the far side.
It's a very good coverage by James Trapp. And I'll tell you what, if we watch the Raider defensive line as the game goes on, they're very, very quick off the ball. Chester, when he's healthy, Jerry Ball, for a guy of his size, is very quick off the ball. Nolan Harrison, who we spoke to, said, you know what, they moved him to defensive end, and he's enjoying that, but he's got the competition. Everybody's trying to be the first one off.
This is Al Del Greco, a 53-yard attempt for Del Greco, his career long 54 yards. is no good. Flag on the play. And the penalty against Houston. And it might have been delay of game against Houston. Raiders will take the penalty and take over.
Delay a game. Offense, 5 yards. Still 4th down.
Well, now it is 4th down, and not electing to back Del Greco up on a dead ball foul.
58 yards is a tad long.
So Tim Brown stands back at his 10-yard line. So another drive sputters for Houston. Rich Camarillo back at his 45. And movement on the Raider defensive line. They come back. And now Camarillo looked like he wanted to pass it, elects to punt. Angling down the right sideline, and an excellent defensive special teams coverage play. The ball loose. Oilers have a chance at it. That is number 32, Spencer Tillman.
What an incredible player.
The officials have not indicated a touchdown, and they're now discussing it very closely with Tim Brown.
Well, as the Oiler players came down to touch the ball down, number 52.
There's also a flag on the play at the 35, so a lot to sort out on this play.
Probably a legal man downfield.
Early indication. And the indication by Tom White.
Well, it makes the end of the play a moot point, but Mike Jones, number 52 of the Raiders, went into the middle of 3 Houston Oilers.
Ineligible lineman downfield on the kicking team. Number 53, 5 yards. We'll replay 4th down.
Downfield, David Williams of Houston. So Camarillo backs it up again, tries from his 40. Tim Brown lets it sail over his head, hopes it gets into the end zone. It does not. Houston appeared to have had it down deep in territory, but the ball squirts back into the end zone for the touchback, and it'll come out to the 20. The leaders in the AFC West go against the Atlanta Falcons. That's Atlanta and San Diego. All part of a doubleheader next Sunday as Hostetler comes out and has Tim Brown for a 1st down. Tim Brown, 8 catches for 130 yards last week, a couple of touchdowns. His 2nd 100-yard receiving game of the season.
Okay, here we see Tim Brown coming down the center of your screen, breaking to the outside, coming back for the ball. Great concentration on picking the ball up, knowing where his feet are, keeping me in bounds. You know, although he says that he's not as fast, his big asset is after the ball is caught. He's the guy that can make the big play.
The injury report on Chester McLaughlin, sprained right knee, may come back. As Harvey Williams brings it up the middle, a flag is thrown as Williams knifes his way up the middle for 4 or 5. Blaine Bishop on the stop. And the holding call indicated against Los Angeles.
You know,
the most penalized team in the AFC.
Well, they're not necessarily holding true to form, but it's not a good start. I believe it against number 76, Steve Wisniewski.
Holding, number 76 offense, 10 yards. Still 1st down.
Indeed it is against Wisniewski. 4 straight Pro Bowls in his first 5 NFL seasons. Not a bad way to start.
Tell you what, you want to talk about a stud on an offensive line? Steve Wisniewski is the guy. I mean, I've watched him in practice take defensive linemen in pass rushing situations, one-on-one, bend him over backwards, throw him down, just walk away before the guy can even get up and yell at him.
So 1st down and 20 now for the Raiders as they get backed up. Hostetler to throw over the middle, incomplete. He wanted the tight end Andrew Glover. Good defensive coverage for Houston. Blaine Bishop back there.
Okay, the beginning of this game, we saw a lot of pressure, a lot of blitzes, and the Raiders are making the plays. Now we've got a 4-man rush. I think the Oilers are deciding, you know what, we can't open ourselves up too much. They come in with a straight 4-man rush here, which is giving Hostetler a little bit more time. Right now, everything's going the Raiders' way.
2nd down and 20. Rathman and Williams in the backfield for Hostetler. closing seconds of the first quarter. 25 seconds left. Hostetler feels the pressure, loops it up, and he had James Jett out there, but Jett not able to catch up with it. Good pressure by Houston linebacker Eddie Robinson on the blitz.
Well, I don't know what happened. They had full protection in both backs in the backfield to pick up any kind of blitz coming. And you see Eddie Robinson coming from the outside. Good hit. It's amazing when these guys get a good hit on a quarterback like that. A lot of times you see the quarterback still focusing downfield as he's falling. That's one of the things that amazes me.
Well, how different is this drive for Los Angeles as compared to the first drive? I mean, it was easy pickings for Los Angeles where they chewed up nearly 9 minutes to take the 7-0 lead. But now, 3rd and 20. Hostetler feeling the heat again. Gets it off complete to Harvey Williams, and Williams maybe a couple of yards, so 4th down and long, and the Raiders will have to punt it away. Steve Jackson dragged Williams down.
Boy, and they had
to nothing. Back after these messages. Your neck of the woods, Bob GOLIC.
Well, speaking of my neck of the woods, that's my girlfriend.
Well, how did she get on our telecast?
I gave her tickets. And I bribed the cameraman.
Gossett to punt on 4th down and 18. Ernest Givens drifts back to the 27. And hit hard at the 35. Return of about 8. Late flag in. And that sometimes indicates unsportsmanlike penalty, a late hit of some kind, but we'll wait and hear. 47-yard punt by Gossett, who, by the way, is closing in on 40,000 yards in his career in punting yards, and a penalty against Houston. And the Oilers, well, why they had trouble this year? There were the 4 turnovers last week against Philadelphia. They've already got 4 penalties today.
Holding number 37 during the return. 10 yards. 1st down.
And they've already been called for 2 defensive offsides penalties. Critical on the Raider drive, which opened up the game to give them a 7-0 lead. They've been offside, taking Houston out of field goal range. Illegal man downfield already. So Houston hoping their problems don't continue. 1st and 10 from the 25. Count by Tolliver, and this is Gary Brown, right side. Stop for maybe a gain of 1 or 2. The Oilers in the white-on-white uniforms for the first time since their opener in 1989. Came out in the uniforms hoping to get something started. They usually wear the blue pants with the white jerseys. As we take a look at the first quarter statistics. And the time of possession, of course, dominated by Los Angeles. So maybe Houston lucky to be only behind 7-0.
I think one thing you have to look at is the 12 yards of passing so far. Billy Joe, the spark that they're hoping would bring this passing game alive, just hasn't happened to this point.
Tolliver, the pocket collapses, and we'll wait and see if he recovered his own fumble. Recovered by the Raiders, and they'll have it. Chester McLaughlin recovers the fumble, so obviously healthy enough to be back in the game.
He's not hurt. He's faking. Well, it was set up. If you watch up the middle, number 24, Patrick Bates comes up the middle. Chester pushing his guy right back up into Billy Joe Tolliver's chest. Billy Joe just losing track of the ball, dropping it. Chester picking it up. Great pressure up front. And that's one of the things you see with this Raider defense. Not only are they having the great strength, the quickness on the outside, with Chester McLaughlin and Jerry Ball, these big guys pushing up the middle, it collapses that pocket and gives the quarterback nowhere to go.
We talk turnovers already. 1 for Houston, and it sets up the Raiders at the 22. Harvey Williams pirouettes, looking to get inside the 20. And that'll be a gain of 3 for Harvey Williams. Brought down by Al Smith, the leading tackler in the Houston defense.
Well, Al Smith coming and playing off of the block of Greg Skrepnek. Nice play. Good awareness, and that's something that with Harvey Williams at running back, this Oiler defense is going to have to do. They're really going to have to, as I said before, pay attention to their responsibilities, know where their gaps are along the line. They all can't go chasing across the field to where they think the ball's going to go. The guy's going to cut back, and they got to be there to make the play.
Hostetler, plenty of time, wanted to swing it out to Tom Rathman, but he is met quickly. Let's go to New York for our first up. Here at the Coliseum, Raiders up 7-0, trying to take advantage of Houston's fumble by Billy Joe Tolliver. 3rd down and 8. Ball just inside the 20. And Hostetler will call for a timeout. And that is Los Angeles's last timeout of the first half, and it comes with 13:07 left in the second quarter. Dan Hicks with Bob Gold back at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Pretty crucial call here for the Raiders, Bob. 3rd down and 8. They have Ismail, Brown, and Wright in, along with the tight end Glover.
But you look at the split backs in the backfield. Glover is one of the backs. He's in for protection. This is going to be a pass. They may slip a draw, but it's definitely going to be a
flag is thrown. That'll stop play.
And it'll be nothing. Well, Jeff Hostetler is a guy, and he's the big leader out there. And especially down in the red zone, you get down to the 20-yard line in.
False start. Number 76 offense. Moving prior to the snap.
Your hand on the ground is difficult to get it up and get your body in position. You know, sometimes you get caught leaning.
3rd down now and 13. Hostetler feels the pressure from the right, goes down, gets rid of it, and it's intercepted. This is Darrell Lewis on the interception for Houston. Brings it back out to the 21-yard line. Eddie Robinson was pressuring Hostetler. And Don Mosbar, the center, makes the tackle on Darrell Lewis, who picks up his 4th interception of the year.
I see the nose tackle dropping. Childers dropping out. Just an ill-advised throw by Hostetler. Snagged by Darrell Lewis. Great run.
Raiders lead at 7-0, but a turnover. Houston trying to take it back.
And somebody's supposed to go get the quarterback. And for whatever reason, I think it's intimidation. Here you'll see Eddie Robinson coming in, just getting a nice shot. Not like it's that hard to block a quarterback, but it's still very satisfying.
8th interception of the season for Hostetler. Tolliver goes to work, complete. Haywood Jeffries across the 30-yard line. Close to a first down, gain of 8 or 9 for Haywood Jeffries, the leading receiver for Houston this year.
There you see his numbers.
Ranked 3rd on the Oilers all-time reception list. 3 straight Pro Bowls. But he had the slick of 3 straight. And the AFC pass-catching championship snapped last year, did Haywood Jeffries. So Billy Joe Tolliver, 2nd down and 1. And to give to Brown, fighting for first down yardage.
Well, I know that it's 2nd and very short, about a yard, but you look at the size of those guys in the middle of the Raiders.
Picks up the first down. Oilers at the 32. And this is Brown. First down yardage, still on his feet up to the 45-yard line. Gain of 12 for Gary Brown. Let's go to New York and here. All right, thank you, Greg. The 6-0 start for the Chargers, all of a sudden in jeopardy. Seattle leading that ball game. Raiders up 7-0 here at the Coliseum. Houston 1st down and 10 from its own 45. Tolliver, quick drop, pass complete into Raider territory. And that is Haywood Jeffries. Terry McDaniel on the coverage for the Raiders.
Oh, here you see the round on the top of the screen. Just a quick, you know, I think that the Oilers at this point really haven't been able to establish any kind of momentum. There you see Haywood Jeffries.
Remember Haywood Jeffries, when he's talked about the different quarterbacks that Houston has been using this year, said, I favor Billy Joe Tolliver. I think he has the kind of charisma to get this club going.
He was the one guy that actually came out and committed.
2nd down and 2 on the 8-yard reception for Jeffries. Tolliver avoids the sack and throws it away. Smart play by Tolliver. Pressure by Nolan Harrison. Nolan Harrison much happier after being moved to the outside in position. This is Gary Brown. Brown, not much at all. Stopped by Anthony Smith. And that will bring up 4th down for Houston and Rich Camarillo.
Remember we talked to Nolan, and Nolan, when he first came in, he was playing defensive tackle, playing the inside. We asked him yesterday, you know, how do you like that switch to defensive end? His response was, oh, I love it. You know, he goes, I love the action inside. He goes, but there's so much freedom on the side. It's a lot more fun. It can kind of show some technique out there.
He said, give me a position of power. I want to be known as the guy the other teams look for.
Well, that's just it. He like a Reggie White, where he can move up and down the line, and they have to be scared of him. That's his ultimate goal.
There's Tim Brown, ready to receive the Camarillo punt. Brown calls for the fair catch, and it is tracks at the 13 is where the Raiders will begin. 35-yard punt for Camarillo. We'll be right back. By many before the season began as Super Bowl contenders began 1-3, had the open date, have won 2 of their last 3, but for the first time trying to put 2 wins together.
Yeah, they started the season off against the 49ers. Everybody's saying that would be a preview of the Super Bowl. And actually, the result looked like a Super Bowl with the NFC dominating.
And they really got hammered by Seattle in game 2, 38-9. Play action by Hostetler. The flag is down. Pass complete to Glover, who's across the 40. Gain of 29 for Glover. We'll wait and see what the officials say, see if it comes back.
Well, Glover was wide open. Looked like they were in man-to-man coverage.
And it will come back. Illegal motion against Los Angeles. Another penalty against Art Shell's team.
Let me tell you, from sitting in Art Shell's meetings.
Illegal motion. Number 82 offense. 5 yards. Replay 1st down.
Penalty against James Jett.
Sitting in Art Shell's meetings, when you make mistakes like that, kind of these penalties that are basically stupid. They're concentration penalties, things that you're just not concentrating about. He does not tolerate that.
No, I remember when we met with him yesterday, you came in late and you had a little bit of the butterfly.
Yeah, he almost fined me.
You still feel the butterflies. You're not even a member of the team anymore. And you got a smile out of it. Probably not the same case when you played for him as Harvey Williams carries the ball on 1st down and 15. Let's go back to New York. Visit Greg Gumpel. Raiders on top 7-0. Midway point of the 2nd quarter. Los Angeles began this drive at the 13. Back to the line of scrimmage now on 2nd down and 10. Williams just across the 20. He'll be short of the 1st down, and that'll bring up another 3rd down. Blaine Bishop, who has been playing so impressively for Houston in the defensive secondary, made the stop.
Let's look at this replay. You're going to see Tom Rathman coming in motion, leading the block there for Harvey Williams. The Raider offensive linemen are just locking up the Oiler defensive linemen. The Oiler defense is they're not separating from their blocks. They're not getting their arms out. They're not making the plays. Thus, Harvey Williams well on his way to 100 yards, it looks like.
3rd down and 3. Glover in motion. And Williams right side trying to spin his way to the 1st down marker. It'll be close. Blaine Bishop, again, one of the Oilers trying to prevent the 1st down, but the indication the Raiders have it.
Well, the mainstay of the defensive line for the Oilers, Ray Childress, 5-time Pro Bowler, good control, separation, just what we were talking about, really getting up there, making the running back change course, breaking his course. Great job on his part. Unfortunately, he didn't get the support behind him to make the stop.
146th game for Ray Childress, the former number 1 pick out of Texas A&M.
Got to be tired.
Williams again, and Williams across the 25-yard line, and Harvey Williams, like you said, well on his way to another 100-yard game. He also caught 8 passes last week, the most by a Raider running back since Marcus Allen did it 2 years ago.
Here's another shot of Ray Childress. Look at the mobility. This is the great thing about him. You look at him, and he's tall and he's lean. You don't see him as an overpowering guy like the guys you see up front on the Raiders, but he has the ability, the quickness, the separation, and you see his lateral movement along the line. He moves like a linebacker and can cover a lot of ground and make a lot of plays.
Kenny Davidson used the word crafty for Ray Childress. Hostetler throws it over the middle. Another interception for Houston. Marcus Robertson this time And Robertson run out of bounds at the Raider 35. Second interception for Hostetler. 9th of the season, and you don't see Hostetler throw very many interceptions.
No, he doesn't. You know, I really think that he was lured into that a little bit. Tim Brown was covered by, I believe, Chris Dishman coming across. Didn't see Robertson coming across from the other side. Stepped right inside and snagged the ball. Looked like there's a little bit of bumping going on between the Brown and Dishman, but referees didn't see it.
Houston trying to take advantage of another Raider turnover, this time just 35 yards away from the Raider goal. Tolliver looping it up, and that pass is intercepted in and out of the arms of Patrick Bates. No interception, incomplete pass. It was intended for Gibbons. Nearly back-to-back interceptions.
Now, I don't know. I think that, you know, Billy Joe is one of the good things about him is he's good coming off the bench. I don't know if he's, you know, if he's having the experience of reading some of these defenses. He's throwing into a double coverage right there. Lionel Washington taking it down the field, and Bates coming up over the top with a deep support.
Billy Joe, career 34 touchdowns, but he's also been plagued by the interception. 37 in his career. As he's chased again, this is knocked down by Jerry Ball. Tolliver was in trouble all the way on that play.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you hit Jerry Ball, you didn't throw the ball very well, because Jerry Ball's about 6 foot 6'1". He's not like a tall guy that's going to get up in your face. I think Billy Joel just didn't get the ball up in the air. Don't know, as he scrambled to the left side of your screen there, as you see him, looks like he's trying to throw back. Anthony Smith coming in, putting a hit on Billy Joe Tolliver. Ball hitting Jerry Ball.
Jerry Ball.
Very appropriately.
Rumor has it he can dunk a basketball, though, at 6'1", 310 pounds.
Yeah, but that's at Kids R Us, at that little Nerf hoop.
3rd and 10 now. Tolliver shows the strong arm, but well out of bounds. That was intended for Pat Coleman, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Now, the one thing that Billy Joe Tolliver said, he goes, the difference of coming in as a starter and coming in as a backup or coming off the bench as a starter, you've got to be a little bit smarter. I mean, you've got to prepare. If you come off the bench, you can just, you know, they don't really expect anything out of you except trying to save the game. So you can take the chances. You can make the plays that perhaps wouldn't have fit into the game plan coming into the game.
Well, 3 and out as the Oilers unable to take advantage of the interception by Robertson. So Camarillo stands at midfield and Tim Brown back at the 10. And it'll be a delay of game on Houston downs in the first 3 quarters this season for a total of 36 points.
And this is this run and shoot offense that was so productive and so prolific for so many years.
Camarillo trying to angle it. This punt too far, and Los Angeles will come out with another chance. They lead at 7-0 on a touchdown scored on their opening drive.
Science fiction, maybe it'll come right on after Sequest. I'll be a happy guy.
All right, Raiders from the 20, 1st and 10. 5:37 left. They lead at 7-0. Harvey Williams darting his way for 6 or 7. Brought down by Michael Barrow. You mentioned the resemblance to Marcus Allen and how that struck a chord with Harvey. And I don't look like Marcus Allen at all. I look more like Eric Dickerson.
Well, he did. He snapped quickly on that. But you know, it makes a lot of sense. Marcus coming in there, and you know, Harvey thought he was going to be the guy in Kansas City. Marcus coming in, kind of taking over. I would imagine he'd want any kind of resemblance.
No love lost between Harvey Williams and his old Kansas City mates. And here's Williams again, turning the corner. Flag is down. Williams has the first down if the play goes. Blaine Bishop making the stop. They'll bring it back as the indication is against Los Angeles.
No, it isn't against the rules. I got pushed down a lot. Nobody called it.
Look at the yards penalized for both teams rolling up. Besides that opening drive of the Raiders, both offenses have gone in reverse. Hostetler has thrown 2 interceptions. And this time he's got a wide open Alexander Wright for the first down, up to the 39. Gain of 25 on the Hostetler to Alexander Wright connection. right. You mentioned speed earlier, Bob. He's the two-time defending champion of the NFL's fastest man contest.
But he's the guy that can burn it. He just got to give Haas the time. He has it here. You see, nice little drop off. You know, if as long as he has the time, he's a guy that can identify receivers. He'll look around. He's not going to lock on one guy and just throw it. But as long as he has the time, he can pick that field apart.
Haas, as you saw, closing in on the 10,000-yard passing mark as Haas Williams gets the call. And the controversy, we mentioned it briefly at the top of the show. The latest on it, as Jeff Hostetler held the press conference last week saying he had heard no such reported racist comments from Art Shell when Art Shell pulled him from the ball game October 16th in the Miami game for changing the plays. They hope the whole incident is now in the rear-view mirror. But Hostetler coming to the defense of his coach, and so all things seem to be in order in the Raider camp now as they look to get it behind them. Hostetler feeling the pressure, gets rid of it. Tim Brown was downfield, and he was double-teamed. Dishman was there. Darrell Lewis was there as well.
Well, I don't think the LA Coliseum fans like the fact that Hostetler got knocked down at the end by Barrows. Michael Barrows getting just a little shove. It wasn't a violent hit, but you see a shot of Al Davis, managing general partner of the Raiders.
You had a chance to see him on the field before the game. Did you see Al?
He said, huh? I told him, I said, hey, I still have eligibility. Nobody's using the number. He goes, we'll call you, baby.
3rd and 7. And Hostetler a little bit off the mark. That was intended for Jamie Williams, who has no receptions for 94. He's the 12-year veteran out of Nebraska. But Hostetler probably knew he had the chance to get Williams his first catch, but a little bit off the mark.
And I think he caught him in the corner of his eye late, because it looked like Haas really rushed that throw. The timing, you know, trying to catch Jamie in stride. That was the best way to run that play. If you hit the guy in stride, it really allows him to gain momentum in the run.
There's Ernest Givens and Jeff Gossett to punt for the Raiders. Givens calls for the fair catch. It was a bird out there that came up in Givens' face mask literally as he made the fair catch. 41-yard punt by Jeff Gossett. There's the bird that got right up into the face mask of Givens as he made that fair catch.
As we see NFL security move on to the receiver supposed to have on a fair catch.
Yes, the alert Bob GOLIC. Gary Brown with some good yardage. He's across the 25 as Houston begins this series at the 18. Coming up at halftime, the NFL Live Domino's Pizza. Raiders James Trapp.
He's kind of one of those guys that's in the locker room all the time, the heart of the organization. Really a great guy.
James Trapp off the field, apparently all right. Standing next to his old friend.
Run will take care of him.
Well, we mentioned the Oilers' 3-game skid, trying to break it. They began the season with 3 straight losses, and at 1-6, when your only win of the season is against Cincinnati, you know things have been a little lean.
And we were there.
We did do that game. They're 1-0 with us as the broadcast.
We reminded them of that, and they were pretty excited.
Jack Party, happy to see us again here in Los Angeles. 2nd down and short, call it 1. Gary Brown trying to pick up first down yardage. Needed to get to the 28 as we approach the 2-minute warning of the first half. Raiders have the only score of the game. It came on their opening drive early in the first quarter. Always nice to chat with him. Very candid conversation with him last night. He says this team, Rob, he said we really probably did underestimate the loss of Warren Moon. Right now, Billy Joe Tolliver, 1st and 10 with 2 minutes left in the half, trying to get some points. This is Gary Brown up to the 40-yard line, but really illustrated that point in our conversation with not only Gilbride, but Chris Dishman. This team, midway through 94, still talking about Warren.
You know what, but they never really brought it up before. Now they're actually coming out and saying, we underestimated his loss.
Tolliver on the mark, complete for a first down to Webster Slaughter, gain of 19, and they're trying to get Al Del Greco perhaps in position for a field goal.
Well, you know they're not going to do anything crazy here. They, of course, would like to get some points on, but they don't want to do anything that's going to allow the Raiders to get any points. The way that the Raider offense has been going, the Raider defense has been going, they don't want to risk letting them get any points before half.
Tolliver on the mark again. Webster Slaughter, that's Tolliver's 6th pass completion of the game as the clock winds down to a minute left. Oilers, with all 3 of their timeouts left, they have a chance to try to get some.
Raiders are giving them a little cushion. They don't want to give them the big play to get them down. And I think it's allowing Billy Joe to dump the ball off in the short and intermediate passes.
Tolliver from the shotgun.
Watch for the draw.
And the quick draw to Gary Brown. Maybe a couple as we're under a minute. Anthony Smith, the right end, making the stop for Los Angeles.
Played well. Good awareness. They saw the alignment of Brown sitting right next to Tolliver. It's a pretty good indication once in a while that ball may be handed to him.
Oilers hurry up at the line of scrimmage. Tolliver avoiding pressure. Back across his body. Completes it to Gary Wellman. 20 yards to Gary Wellman, who was inactive the first 6 games, recovering from a fractured leg. Played Monday night against the Eagles. One timeout left for Houston. Tolliver, plenty of time, decides to run it inside the 5. Tolliver stretching for the end zone. Touchdown indicated from the near side. 6-yard run by Billy Joe Tolliver. It won't go into the Hall of Fame, but nevertheless, the Oilers are on the board and a chance to go into the locker room tied at 7.
Well, the only one pressuring was Chester McLaughlin right up the middle. Tolliver finding an open spot. Everybody staying back in their coverage. It's a difficult situation for the defense because if you come off your coverage to go for the scrambling quarterback, he's going to dump the ball off. So there's a fine line there. Tolliver kind of worming his way through the defenders to reach out and make that touchdown.
The touchdown came with 26 seconds left. Al Del Greco pushes it through. And all of a sudden, tied at 7. 8 plays with Billy Joe Tolliver, no doubt about it.
Real difficult to tell that he's a golfer, isn't it? That outfit he walked in on.
Came in with a visor, a sweater vest, and some golf club crest. Al Del Greco just pooches it up in the air. Raiders fumble it once and recover it down at the 23. Alexander Wright. The Rocket recovered it. Actually, it was Alexander Wright. So the Raiders with no time.
Swung a little bit to the Oilers. Not that they're dominating or anything, but they're feeling better. The fans are booing about them taking the knee, but probably not a bad decision at this time.
No doubt about it, the momentum has switched. The Raiders had the early impressive drive. The Houston Oilers, the late impressive drive to take us into the locker room, tied up at 7. Billy Joe Tolliver posing for pictures on the sidelines as he heads to the Houston locker room. How loose is this guy and that guy?
They had the long ones, they hit the short ones, they hit intermediate ones. They were all over the place. That hasn't been the case here today. They showed kind of little tidbits of it here and there, but it hasn't been consistent.
Only the second game at the Coliseum between the Raiders and Oilers. You saw Art Shell looking for his first win against Houston. Jack Pardee has led the Oilers to 7 straight playoff appearances. That, of course, in deep jeopardy now with a 1-6 start. But Billy Joe Tolliver really picking up the offense late in the first half to get Houston on the board. And Al Del Greco is just about set to get it in play. Back deep for the Raiders. Standing at the 5-yard line is the Rocket give to the far side and Alexander Wright.
Al Del Greco.
Oilers trying to break the 3-game losing streak. Raiders trying to put 2 consecutive wins together for the first time in 94. And this is taken by the Rocket. And Ismail turned around at the 22, spins his way free and gets up close to the 25, if not across it.
As you see Rocket Ismail, he's a guy that they kind of brought along slow. I think they could afford to do that because they had so many other talented receivers, but now he's really come into his own.
Talking about the receivers, in talking with Jeff Hostetler yesterday, he said one of the reasons for the better offensive display by Los Angeles was the meetings in the meetings room. They've actually had a chance to diagram some plays with a wide receiver.
Right, they all have a better idea of the overall picture. Who needs to be at what depth and why? Is it to bring a linebacker up and keep with the guy behind him 3? The whole concept is more clear to these guys now.
Maybe they had a chance to look over those diagrams again in the locker room because the Raider offense sputtered after that opening drive as Harvey Williams gets the first carry. Eddie Robinson stops him for a yard loss or so. Williams with the 80 yards in the first half.
Well, the Oilers have to start out by stop. You see Kenny Davidson, good pressure against a double team, maintaining, holding the line up right there, rolling off. Eddie Robinson coming in. Harvey Williams trying to get that leap. You always want to get a shot. It's great to get a shot on the running back when he's trying to jump over something. They have no power. They have nothing.
Hostetler feeling the pressure from behind. Wanted to get the ball to Harvey Williams. A flag has been thrown at the 35. Al Smith on the coverage.
I got a feeling one of the defenders was on Harvey a little bit tight. It may have been Al Smith or Darrell Lewis.
And yet another penalty against the Raiders.
Illegal contact. Number 29 defense. 5 yards. That's a first down.
Illegal contact against Darrell Lewis, and that enables the Raiders to get the first down.
We haven't heard much about that since preseason when that new rule, the bump rule, the 5-yard chuck rule came into effect, and it was literally almost called on every other play. Now it really seems they've settled down. The refs aren't calling it as much, but unless it was blatant like on that play.
Instead of 3rd and 11, another first down for the Raiders, taking advantage of another Houston penalty. Hostetler gives it to Harvey Williams. And Williams is up to the 35. Brought down by Al Smith.
Well, looking at that play, that is Harvey Williams' play all by himself. Play action pass. If you see here in the replay, fake run, play action pass to Harvey Williams, which kind of settles down the rush so they can't come in. It freezes the linebackers. Harvey's able to then slip in behind the defensive line, the linebackers, find a little open spot and have the ball dumped to him. So that one was all on Harvey.
What was the line by Harvey Williams? Yeah, I'd like to touch the ball any way they could get it to me. Drop it from a helicopter. I'll take advantage of it.
Well, I haven't heard any blades yet.
Well, he fumbles this one in the backfield and tries to get up to the line of scrimmage. He had the ball 35 of the 63 times the Raiders had it from scrimmage last week.
Just a broken play here. I think Jeff Hostetler was expecting him to come over the top behind him on a wide play, and Harvey was actually coming to the inside. And at that point, both guys are looking at each other going, which way do we go? You know, they're both trying to correct, and it just kind of messes both guys up.
3rd and 7 for Los Angeles. Opening drive of the second half. Raiders scored on their opening drive of the first half. Hostetler with time, complete to Tim Brown, and Tim Brown lunges close to midfield. Gain of 15 for Brown, and ask anyone about what separates Tim Brown from the rest of the wide receivers in the National Football League. It's what he does after the catch.
Right, and he says, he goes, I won't pretend that I'm a great route runner or I'm crisp. There it looks like he's running some really good routes. What they do say about him is that he's a guy that really is aware. He has a great vision. He knows how to find the open spot between coverage guys. And as you said, after the ball, he's dangerous.
Well, the 80 catches were the most ever by a Raider receiver in '94. He had 4 100-yard receiving games, already has a pair this season. And is well on his way to another Pro Bowl year. Hostetler with good protection from his line up front, just throws it away. Brown was in the vicinity, but he was well covered.
Well, you know, there's a limit to what you can do with good protection. Timing is important with receivers and quarterbacks. you can give the quarterback all the time in the world, but after a certain amount of time, the receivers have run their routes, and they don't know where to go. At that point, they've got to redirect. So then it comes down to, okay, do I break this way? Then it becomes a guessing game, intuition thing between the receiver and quarterback. Where's he going to go? Can I dump it off to him? So it becomes more difficult the longer he holds it.
Pitch to Harvey Williams. Second down and 10. He's got 5, 7, 8 yards. Flag comes in. Al Smith making the stop for Houston.
Well, we're going to have a holding call on, I believe it's going to be on Robert Jenkins. I believe he was holding Lamar Lathan, right defensive end. What happens a lot of times when you get these perimeter runs, these tackles have a hard time neutralizing these quick defensive ends who like to separate and get out and flow after the play.
Holding, number 64, offense, 10 yards, still second down.
Defensive ends when they run perimeter runs.
So now second down and 18. Ball pushed back to the 41. Hostetler over the middle, and it is complete. James Jett. Jett will be short of the first down. Darrell Lewis made the stop. 16-yard gain by Jett.
They're signaling to bring it back.
Another penalty flag. This game has been marred by penalties.
This crowd is hating it.
Holding, number 64, 10 yards, still second down.
Jenkins again called for the penalty.
Well, he's a guy that's been around. I mean, he's just started as a starter last week, but he's a 9-year veteran. He's been around. He's started in approximately 13 games. See if we can see him over the left side of your screen. Yeah. As Lathan tries to turn the corner, he pulled him down to the ground. A lot of times they try and disguise that as, no, he slipped. No, seriously, I just happened to fall on top of him. But most good referees can see that.
Penalty yards piling up. Second and 28. Hostetler just gets rid of it. Another flag is thrown in. And Hostetler took a shot. Lamar Lathan was spearheading the pressure for Houston.
Yeah, it looks like they ran a game up on the top between Lathan and Montgomery.
Tom White's been our player of the game.
Hit an ineligible lineman, number 72. The result of the play is an incomplete pass, third down.
Penalty called against Don Mosbar, the center.
Looks like the right side of your screen, you're going to see Lathan come down underneath. They'll run a game between the tackle and the defensive end. The tackle who's lined up on the inside will make a move to the outside. He's got to get to the outside of the line to make sure the quarterback stays in containment. At that point, the defensive end, Lamar Lathan, is going to come back down underneath, hopefully find an open spot as he did there and get a shot at the quarterback.
Third down and 28. See if we can get a playoff here without the yellow laundry. Harvey Williams finds a big hole. Has room across midfield. Finally dragged down by a couple of Houston Oilers in Oiler territory at the 42. 27-yard gain by Harvey Williams. Robertson and Bo Orlando, the safeties, combined to bring him down, but not before Harvey Williams picks up a big gain.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to talk about who got that first down, you got to give it to James Jett. You just see Harvey, we're coming here, you're going to see James Jett get a block on Darrell Lewis right there, which breaks Harvey Williams, lets him get the extra yards he's going to need to get that first down.
Just short.
Darrell Lewis slow getting up too, so kind of diminutive James Jett taking a good shot at him.
And Hostetler calling a timeout. Will head to the Raiders sideline to discuss some strategy with Art Shell and company. Fourth down and 2 with 10:01 remaining in the third quarter. Delay of game penalty instead of a timeout charged to the Raiders, so that will bring the ball back into a 4th down and 7 situation. So the Raiders will bring in Jeff Gossett, and he'll punt it away to Ernest Gibbons, who stands back at the 10. So no decision necessary that time for Art Shell. Gossett angling this one to the right side into the end zone, and Houston will come out to the 20 to begin another series. See if Billy Joe Tolliver and Houston can keep the momentum going after that impressive late second.
These guys have been planning these things all year long. And as I told you before, a lot of these things are worn during the course of the year. These aren't just Halloween costumes.
Most noise we've heard from a rather quiet Coliseum crowd all afternoon as Houston begins from its 20. Good play action fake by Tolliver, and he's got Webster Slaughter on the right side, and Slaughter appears to have picked up the first down, ran out of bounds by Albert Lewis.
You're right there. Their right allowed pretty much free rein on that boot to the left.
Slaughter has the first down, ball just across the 30. And this is Brown. Never really has a chance to turn the corner. And is brought down for no gain. Patrick Bates in the vicinity of Gary Brown.
Well, that was really unusual play call there. They were, you know, usually when you run an offensive play, you try.
Less than a yard gain by Brown. Second down and a long 9. Tolliver from the shotgun. Tolliver avoiding pressure and throwing it away. Another smart play by Tolliver. Early in the first half, we saw him do the same thing. And that will cut down on the interception. Traded away 3rd, 4th, and 7th round picks to the Giants to get him. But here he is in Houston trying to get the Oilers just their 2nd win of the season and his first starting role for Houston. As a timeout is called by the Raiders. It's tied at 7. Dan Hicks along with a former Raider, Bob GOLIC. And unbeknownst to Bob GOLIC, as you know, the Raiders do not have a tradition of retiring numbers. But I know it was a tearful moment for you today when you found out that your jersey had been retired along the facade of the Coliseum.
The first one up there, can you believe it? It's just, it brings it, wait. It was a ghost.
Famed number 7.
It was that Halloween star.
How many people do you think we had going on that? 0? Out of the shotgun, Tolliver. And excellent catch by Webster Slaughter. Good for 16 yards and a first down as the Oilers convert on 3rd down. Big play.
Well, very, very big play. And the Raiders are really coming with everything. Aaron Wallace on the right side of your screen. Chester McLaughlin coming back up inside. They're crossing everybody up in front. But the bottom line is they're right there as he's releasing the ball. He's got a clean view of the field downfield. That's what, as a defense, you don't want to do. You can't let him see unobstructed his receiver.
Ball at the 48. On the ground is Brown. Not much. But some.
But they're going to mix it in well, and if they can mix it in, it'll free up that passing attack.
Costello steps up avoiding pressure. Wanted Slaughter again, but almost intercepted in the defensive secondary. Derek Hoskins, number 20, the strong safety.
Lionel Washington.
So let's see what Tolliver does here. Another 3rd down attempt to convert. Previous one converted by Slaughter. Plenty of time for Tolliver, and skips it in short. He wanted Ernest Gibbons. Tolliver disappointed, knew he had the target, wasn't able to deliver. Greg Gumbel, what do you have for us in New York? Thank you, Greg. Here, low-scoring affair. Raiders and Oilers locked in a 7-all duel. Camarillo just getting it off. Tim Brown drifting back to the 8. And Brown gets it up to the 14. 43-yard punt by Camarillo. 8-yard return by Tim Brown. In the 3rd quarter, and as the Raiders get set to begin another drive, Harvey Williams is mentioned over the 100-yard mark. He's got 109 yards rushing. Back-to-back 100-yard games for Harvey Williams. The last time it was done, Eric Dickerson in November of '92. Bob GOLIC, you were on the field, I believe.
Yeah, I actually got Eric some Gatorade. He looked really tired, and I wanted to help him out. The team guy.
There it is. Harvey Williams, the new featured back in the Raider backfield. It's just his 2nd start as a Raider, and he gets the first call. And after we give him the big build-up, he gets dropped behind the line of scrimmage. Good defensive surge by the Oilers' front defensive line.
Well, you got to credit that one to Glenn Montgomery, number 94. He got the force up there. He drove his blocker right back up into the backfield. At that point, you take away the cutting room, the room that Harvey Williams needs to do what he does best, which is cut back and find a spot. Montgomery just really very strong. Not a tall guy, not even a real heavy guy, at 282, but he plays very strong and he plays very quick.
Loss of 2 for Williams. Second down and 12. Hostetler on the mark, and that one is complete to the tight end Glover. And Glover is already over his career high for receptions in a single season. He came into the game tying it with 15, and he's already got a career high.
Good protection up front. The offensive line just wads everybody together on defense. And going back to what we saw in that first drive or two was the little dump passes to the guys, not the long stuff. Drop it off to the Andrew Glover, Pancho. Pancho is his nickname when he first came in. We asked, where'd you get the nickname?
He's starter now at tight end now that Ethan Horton signed with the Redskins, and the Raiders like it. Third down and 7. Hostetler looking for the first down, and just over the outstretched arms of Tim Brown. Bo Orlando in the vicinity of Brown, and that'll bring up fourth down, and the Raiders will punt it away.
Another good shot on Jeff Hostetler by Marcus Robertson coming from the right side of your screen. These guys are very aware. The thing you're going to notice, and that's the coverage. They have it covered where the guy on top, Darrell Lewis, 29, is going to sit on top. As Marcus leaves his coverage, Darrell's going to pick it up.
This is Travis Hanna taking over for Ernest Gibbons as the punt return man almost bobbles it away. He's able to hang on, and Houston will begin from and is watching from the sidelines. Injured left knee, apparently why Cody is sitting this one out. Tolliver loses the football. The Raiders stripped it, and they have it. McLaughlin, Chester McLaughlin strips it away, and Nolan Harrison recovers for the Raiders.
Well, you see on the left side of your screen, Chester just driving upfield, gets pushed past Billy Joe Tolliver, but just knocks the ball free. Nolan Harrison following up, and the two guys fighting over the ball.
What a play by the big cat, Chester McLaughlin.
You know, that's just a straight up the field move. It's called a rip move. You get up to half, you get half. That very, very quick with a rip move. Chester taking over for him and doing a great job.
Raiders have it at the Houston 24. Hostetler the quick hit to Tim Brown, gain of maybe 2. But Chester McLaughlin had the 78 tackles last year, Bob, and that was the most by a Raider defensive lineman since
Bob Golic?
Bob Golic back in 1991.
Can you believe they actually wrote that in the media guide?
You knew I'd be all over that one.
I knew you would. 1994. I made the 94 media guide. Let's go. Yeah, one of the things you're going to notice, I'll continue the thought of this play.
Pitch to Williams inside the 20. Second down and 6 call. He'll be short of the first down. Blaine Bishop making a stop for Houston.
But one of the things that you'll notice in the sidelines is these guys, they get Polaroids off of the video and of every play. So these guys have a chance to look and see the formation.
I think he just wanted to see himself.
He's going to sign it and get some copies. But during the week, you look at formations of a team, you see what their tendencies are. If they're in a full formation with split backs, if they're in an I formation, maybe 75% of the time they'll do play action pass or they'll run perimeter. But you know the tendencies. So they try and look at these pictures to kind of see if they're holding true to form.
Harrison and McLaughlin combining for this big turnover. Raiders trying to take advantage. 3rd and 5. Harvey Williams well short of the first down, and we'll see Jaeger come on.
Well, where the Oilers have been having problems before stopping the run, it seems like they're doing something a little bit different. They're getting more penetration. Instead of standing up and locking up into the guys in front of them, going man on man and trying to separate and make the tackle, they're getting penetration. They're getting a yard or yard and a half deep in the backfield, taking away that cutting angle that Harvey Williams basically needs to find the open spot.
This will be a 35-yard attempt for Jaeger. And Jaeger can't get much more perfect than that. Raiders on the board for the first time since their opening drive. They lead it 10-7. Goal by Jeff Jager, taking advantage of an excellent play by Chester McLaughlin, and Jager to kick off. Steve Jackson trying to chase it down, touches the football, it's live, picks it up at the 3, and gets to the 10. And that's where the Oilers will begin. We'll go back to Greg Gumbel at the 10. Tolliver to throw on first down, stripped again from his throwing arm, and the Raiders have recovered.
Once again, Chester McLaughlin, same move, same result.
Chester McLaughlin, for the second time today, picks up the big turnover for Los Angeles.
And we thought he had a bad leg. He was just resting. Once again, you'll see him there in the center of your screen. He's going to move to the outside on Norgard 64. An arm over swim move. As he comes up, he gets stripped up, reaches out, and just knocks the ball out of Billy Joe Tolliver's hand. Once again, his partner in crime, Nolan Harrison, there to scoop it up.
Second straight time.
Deja vu. Here we see it again. The hand just coming in. Billy Joe didn't even know what hit him.
It's the McLaughlin-Harrison duo, which has set up the Raiders again. This time a little deeper. They're down at the Houston 4. Reaction from Kevin Gilbride. Harvey Williams fumbles the football as he headed into the pile, and now the Oilers have it. So how quickly momentum can change. Baron Wortham comes up with a fumble by Harvey Williams. Wow.
Just a bad exchange of the ball. You know, something, one of those things you work on it all week. I mean, a handoff is supposed to be one of the simplest things in the world, but the timing on that sometimes is a little difficult. Here you see the handoff, and
he never had it, or did he have it?
Never had it. Just hit, kind of caught him on the front of the arm, and it just bounced off, bounced forward into the pile.
Two of the biggest plays in the ball game. Back to back. McLaughlin with a strip, Williams with a fumble, and now Houston begins from its home 2. They trail by 3. Could have been worse. Raiders throw away another opportunity to score. Brown up the middle, trying to give Houston some breathing room. Gets it up close to the 5. Winston Moss brings him down.
He doesn't want to stand back in his end zone with the ball the way things have been going for him.
Both teams have 3 turnovers apiece. This time, stopped behind the line is Gary Brown. Jerry Ball, the restricted free agent, unrestricted free agent, signed in July from Detroit, where he was a 3-time Pro Bowler with the Lions.
You look at Jerry, and you see this guy at 6'1", about 310 pounds. Incredibly quick off the ball, as are all the guys in that front. But the good penetration he had is what broke up that play.
You know, he came into Art Shell's office when he was acquired, and he said, "Don't expect me to lose any weight." And Art said, "Hey, I know where you're coming from. I'm a big guy, too." 3rd down and 9. Oilers backed up. And this time to the lay, Brown gives him a little breathing room, and all the Houston Oilers were trying to do was to give Camarillo a little bit more breathing room in the back of his end zone. An excellent play by the Raiders.
They've been very aggressive, very strong, making the big plays, and giving the offense a lot of opportunities with turnovers.
Camarillo backed up at the end of his end zone. And the veteran needing a good punt to try to pin back the Raiders. Brown calling for the fair catch at the 44. 38-yard punt by Camarillo. Next Sunday, join NBC Sports for NFL. As Hostetler begins this series for the Raiders, trying to take advantage of excellent field position.
You see Eddie Robinson just getting up. Coaches don't want you to jump, but as I said before, you need to block the vision of the quarterback. You give him free vision of his receivers, he's going to get the ball off. Plus, from a physical standpoint, you don't want to jump when you got a blocker right in front of you. It hurts.
We'll take your word for that. And the pitch to Williams, looking for first down yardage. Will get just inside the 40, gain of 5. Brought down by Marcus Robertson. Harvey Williams has done most of his damage on the ground. 4 quarters. Raiders have a 10-7 lead. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Billy hasn't left the Coliseum in Los Angeles. He still lurks along with some of his best friends from his Raider days.
Honey, be mine.
Day before Halloween in LA. I love it. Los Angeles, 3rd down now and 6. Ball at the 40. Stetler trying to run away from pressure. Down he goes. Fumble. Houston has it.
Ray Childress on the sack.
Caused by Ray Childress.
4th turnover of the game
Recovered by the
for the Raiders. Lathan recovered it. The football with all these turnovers. Houston starts at the 47. Tolliver near side Givens. He's in the Raider territory. And we'll head back out to the East Coast and join Greg. All right, Greg. Raiders up 10-7. Houston into Raider territory. And this is Lorenzo White with his first carry of the game. Lorenzo White, of course, bowing to Gary Brown for the final 8 games of 93 with the hamstring problems that he's had. Prior to that injury, he was among the conference leaders in rushing, and now with Houston trying to get something going offensively, they go to the 7-year veteran out of Michigan State.
It can't hurt. Gary Brown just hasn't been able to, as good a running back as he is, just hasn't been able to generate anything. Maybe Lorenzo White can be the spark that they need.
Gary Brown told us that he still feels that ankle mentally, and it's cost him a little bit of confidence. Lorenzo White gets the next carry on 3rd down, and he won't pick up the first down to bring up 4th down and 1 for
Great Houston. Great play by Anthony Smith, number 94 for the Raiders. It's very difficult as a defensive end when they run those perimeter plays. You're locked up with your blocker, as I said before, and you're trying to release to him and get to the guy who's running outside. He was able to release, get outside, get his hand on the collar, and pull him down.
4th down and 1. Houston with the decision. We'll have it when we come back. 10 minutes left of the game. Houston elects to punt on 4th down and 1. Tim Brown falling for the fair catch at the 11, and
his own man running into him.
So Houston will, or the Raiders, in fact, will take over from their 9-yard line. Bob, what do you think about that call? On the road, 1 and 6, chance to go for the first down?
You know, looking at that, I'm thinking you're 1 and 6. I mean, you had nothing really going. It's a chance to, you've got a yard to go. Maybe you can get a little sparker. You got to take a chance once in a while. But then again, I'm thinking back to when we talked to Chris Dishman last night, and he said his comment was, if we go 1 and 7, the season's over. I mean, that's a very strong comment for a guy. You know, if they lose the game 1 and 7, the season's over. That's mentally, that's got to be a very. He said the guys going to be hanging their heads. They're going to have this losing feeling.
He said all along, 10 and 6 can win this division. So if they lose today, it's the 7th loss, and perhaps they won't have a chance to get back for postseason play. But the Raiders have it at the 9, and this is Williams spinning his way up to the 13-yard line for a gain of 4. Mal Smith, the leading tackler for Houston, makes the stop.
You know what, to continue on that thought, losing and winning is very contagious. It's the type of thing where if you do it enough, you start to expect it. You get into a game, you think things are going along, you get a bad break. If you're a winning team, you're going to go, hey, we'll recover. But if you're a losing team that's used to losing, you're going to go, here we go again. And it really permeates the team, and you can see it in the faces of the guy in the field when they break the huddle.
We saw Harvey Williams, the workhorse. He carried 27 times last week, and that's his 27th carry of today, with still better than 12 minutes left in the game. Said he wasn't tired. Art Shell seemed to think he was a little bit tired at the end of last week's game.
Well, I saw some shots of him after the game. He had a huge smile on his face. So, you know, he got what he wanted. It was an early Christmas for Harvey Williams, and very excited just to be a big part of this team. I think against Kansas City. He's able to get 2 big games under his belt like this going into KC.
Yeah, back-to-back 100-yard games.
He's going to be fired up.
Think he won't be? Sure he will. 3rd down and 3 for the Raiders. And it's complete to Brown, and Brown has first down yardage. They're going to mark him up at the 26-yard line. So Tim Brown, brought down by Blaine Bishop, gives the Raiders some breathing room.
Now Blaine just lost coverage there. Just gave Tim Brown just a little bit too much room. You'll see as the ball thrown over to the right side. Just too much cushion between Blaine and Tim Brown. But as we said before, that's the great thing about Tim. You know, it's not so much that he's fast. He just knows how to get to the open spots. He knows how to separate himself from the receivers. And I'll tell you what, with the chuck rule, it's a little bit easier for offensive receivers to get away from the coverage guys now.
And this is Harvey Williams again. The ball comes loose. It'll be a matter if the officials blow it dead.
This is incredible, the amount of turnovers we got going on here.
Harvey Williams, they will not rule it a fumble, but boy, if Harvey Williams would have coughed it up, would have been 2 costly ones for the Raiders, but as it is now, it's just 1.
So you see Harvey in the center. See his body, yeah.
Yeah, he's down.
Yeah, the arm had made contact with the ground when the ball came out.
Good call by the officials, and illustrated again here.
Yeah, good call. We'll give it to him.
2nd down and 9. You're too nice, Bob. Hostetler with time, has some running room along the right side. He'll take some of it, knocked out of bounds at the 30-yard line, and it'll bring up 3rd down. So Hostetler, who set the Raider rushing record for a quarterback last year, scampers for some yardage, but well short.
Well, let's take a look at Al Smith, middle linebacker for the Oilers. Starts in coverage on Andrew Glover. Sees Hostetler starting to make the scramble. Breaks off his coverage, makes the move up, gets a hit on the sidelines. Guys cover a lot of yardage.
3rd and 6. Hostetler, does he have his man? Tim Brown? They say it's incomplete. Brown seems to think he came up with it. Darrell Lewis on the coverage, but was Brown able to scoop that one up? Answer is no, according to the officials, and Jeff Gossett will come on to punt again for the Raiders.
You don't see Tim Brown fighting it that
Not too hard.
that much.
There was an initial little, I think he was trying to fool the officials, but that call will stand. Ernest Gibbons will stand back at his 25. Throw the punt, Gossett just gets it off, and it's an excellent punt. Gibbons back to the 21. Gibbons brought down at the 27 as flags come down. 49-yard punt by Gossett. Gibbons brings it back 7, and for the 2nd time today, Gibbons has not only had to battle the Raiders, he's had to battle the birds. A couple of birds flying up in his face.
You'll see him coming in for 24, taking the shot, head down, and then Derek Hoskins knocked over the top. At this point, he reaches in and grabs. It looks like he's grabbed his shoulder. Could be a stinger, could be collarbone. I mean, we shouldn't actually probably speculate on it, but
well, they just took Patrick Bates off in the cart. We hope it is nothing serious. Meanwhile, the Houston Oilers trail 10-7 with less than 10 minutes to go in the ball game. Tolliver from the shotgun, and Tolliver unable to connect. He was looking for Webster Slaughter, incomplete. Been a rough.
Just missing his receivers.
This time Tolliver with time, but not that much, but does get it away, and it is complete. And it's Gary Wellman who comes up with a big 16-yard reception for Houston and a first down.
Well, here's a guy who hasn't had any receptions coming in and is doing real well now. I mean, pressure here again by Chester McLaughlin, getting a grab on Tolliver just as he's releasing the ball. Wellman wide open over the middle.
Wellman
James Trapp. You see that James Trapp going for the ball, trying to pull that out instead of getting the tackle.
And his third-year local guy here out of USC. First and 10 now for Tolliver. Shows pass and hands off to Brown, who was spelled a couple of times in the last series by Lorenzo White. But you get the feeling, Bob, that the ankle still bothering Gary. He doesn't seem to have that explosiveness that he's had.
Right, the explosiveness. He doesn't seem to have the cutting ability, the change of directions that you see out of him. And you know what? To have a good passing attack, you really have to establish some kind of a running game. So they will respect the pass and won't just put their ears back and come at you. But right now, the Oilers haven't been able to establish any kind of a running game to give them their passing game any support.
Second down and 7. Tolliver, excellent hands just to get the shotgun snap. And almost intercepted by Dan Land. Gary Wellman was the intended receiver. We'll take this time to tell you that Patrick Bates has a dislocated shoulder. He will not return, so Dan Land figuring prominently in the defensive secondary.
Here at the end, wide open, almost like a punt return, just off the hands. Dan Land obviously very disappointed. Up front, you got to give a lot of credit to Derek Hoskins. Came on a safety blitz right up the middle, busted through a couple of guys. Got a hit on Tolliver just as he released it. Misdirected that pass, allowed Dan Land to even have an opportunity to make the interception.
Tolliver gets away with one there. Now 3rd and 7. Stands in the pocket. Pass complete across the 40. Very close to a first down. Webster Slaughter trying to pick it up.
What is Chester McLaughlin doing?
And now
tackling Webster Slaughter downfield.
Maybe that's how quick he is, and Slaughter slow to get up.
Holding his ankle, so he might have twisted it underneath the weight of Chester.
That's Slaughter's 5th catch for 64.
That I would drop into a zone coverage about 10-12 yards deep in the middle, which would allow.
First down and 10 for Houston. Ball just across the 40. Webster Slaughter out of the ball game after picking up the first down. Tolliver standing in. Ernest Gibbons in and out of his hands. That would have been a first down. As we take another look back at Webster Slaughter's injury.
And here you see Chester McLaughlin, who dropped back into coverage, chasing him down, and as he falls, he lands on his right ankle, twisting underneath him. Continues to hold on, which, you know, that's just what you do. As a defensive player, you grab and you hold on until they're down.
Now in 93, Slaughter was enjoying an excellent year. He was leading the team in receptions with 77 before suffering a season-ending knee injury in December. But he's back out on the field, shaking off that apparent ankle injury. Tolliver looking for Brown out of the backfield, incomplete. Let's go back to our New York studios. All right, thank you, Greg. Your old team, the Browns, hanging in there a mile high.
I never had much luck with them against Denver. Oh, maybe they can do something without me.
Houston hanging in here at the Coliseum on the road. 7:18 left in the game.
I'll tell you what, you know, we've been talking about Tolliver not really hitting his receivers, being very erratic with that. But the thing we're also seeing is that when he does hit the receivers, they're not holding on to the ball. I mean, it's just all around not a good situation.
Difficult situation here. 3rd down and 10. Here come the Raiders, and they get it away to Brown. Brown's going to get the first down. Inside the 40, down to the 35.
Great call by Kevin Gilbride. You got to give the guy credit. The Raiders have been blitzing this whole drive. They've been bringing Derek Hoskins up the middle. They set up the middle screen. Hoskins, you see, blitzing up the middle, just dropping it off to Gary Brown. Little block on the referee, and Gary Brown doing it himself.
24 yards for Brown.
Great call.
And they go right back with Brown after he picks up the big gainer. Rob Fredrickson, the rookie out of Michigan State.
Running in the open field.
No gain for Brown. 2nd down and 10. Tolliver from the shotgun. Has time, and it's complete. And that is Haywood Jeffries. Brought down by Terry McDaniel.
Ball, great concentration. as you said, they're on the move.
Yard short. Third down. Fake the reverse inside handoff. Tolliver on the run, and he'll get the first down.
Billy Joe Tolliver.
Tolliver, when he decides to run, gets some pretty good yardage. He had that late first half touchdown.
Anthony Smith is not going to be happy about this because Billy Joe Tolliver was able to turn the corner on him here. Anthony thought he had the angle, and Billy Joe just outrun him. I shouldn't say that. Anthony's going to track me down, and he's gonna haunt me for even saying that.
You'll regret that, Bob Golic. So the Oilers with the first down at the Raider 22. They have 2 timeouts left. Those will come into play later on in the game. There's still 5 minutes left. This is Brown, and he will not get to the 20. Maybe a gain of 1. Chester McLaughlin, who has been very active making the stop. And we get a
oops, my career's over.
Second down and 8. Incomplete. And a flag comes in as Webster Slaughter was the intended receiver.
Well, the flag wasn't thrown in Slaughter's direction. It was thrown to the center of the field. Everybody waiting to see who was getting nailed. Bruce Matthews saying holding on the Raiders. Then again, as a good veteran, you're going to try and convince the referees that something did happen.
Something that you, of course, were not guilty of.
Exactly.
During your
shift the blame, baby.
3-time Pro Bowl career. You think we had people going that your jersey was retired earlier when we showed the?
Might have been only me.
Art Shell waiting for the call from Tom White. This has been a game full of penalties. Tom White sorts it out, and it is holding against the Raiders, and that'll be first down and 10 for Houston. This drive alive.
Okay, let's take another look. See if we can see in the middle where the holding took place. Oh, there you number 93. Yeah, number 93, Jerry Ball, just turned and grabbed onto, I believe it was one of the receivers trying to release out. Kind of twisted him, threw him down to the ground.
Big play.
Interesting technique.
So now Houston with the first down and 10 at the 15. 4:13 left. Oilers trail it 10-7.
It's a shame a guy like Jerry Ball, who's been such a force in the middle, making a little bit of a mistake there in such a crucial time.
Tolliver with time going for the end zone and thrown over the head of his receiver. Webster Slaughter.
Webster seems to be the guy he wants to go to. He's having the most success with today.
Slaughter well covered by a couple of Raiders. And that'll bring up second down and 10.
You look at the Raider defense, and you're seeing normally when you see the blitzing in the games and a lot of guys coming up front, you're seeing guys breaking free, receivers breaking free. But you're not seeing that. You're seeing double coverage downfield. I got to look sometimes and go, are they really playing with 11 guys, or they got 12 or 13 out there?
Tolliver over the middle, and it's complete to Haywood Jeffries. And that'll bring up third down and short, third down and 2. Terry McDaniel making the stop.
Been a wasted down. They can't afford to waste these downs anymore. They got to go with what's working for them. The little short passes, the dump passes.
Ball at the 7. Tolliver looking to the end zone. Haywood Jeffries, touchdown Houston. 7 yards, Billy Joe Tolliver to Haywood Jeffries, and for the first time, the Oilers have the lead.
Well, we talked about Billy Joe not having a touch. He really laid that one in perfectly here. As you can see on the left side of your screen, Billy Joe, the quick timing pattern, not letting anybody even get there, right into the chest of Haywood Jeffries. See Billy Joe Tolliver, knowing that they've taken the lead. A little look of relief on his face, a little reaction.
Look at Kevin Gilbride and the Oilers on the sidelines. This is Del Greco to try to put Houston up by 4. He does so. That was an important point after, because the Oilers now have a 4-point lead, 3:19 to go. Haywood Jeffries, it comes at a critical time, 7 yards, as the Houston Oilers have taken a 14-10 lead. we'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching Miami and New England. Once again, Houston up 14-10 over the Los Angeles Raiders on the strength of the 7-yard touchdown pass from Tolliver to Jeffries. And a 15-play drive, 86 yards, chewing up 6:45 on the clock. Most impressive drive of Houston so far today. Del Greco to kick off. 3:18 left. And this is the rocket from the 6. Pretty good return, gets across the 30-yard line. We'll mark him out at about the 33. And Bob, you've played in this Coliseum many times. You don't want to mention the Southern California mentality, but plenty of people leaving the Coliseum with still more than 3 minutes left, and the Raiders with 2 timeouts and
you know, there's a knock a little bit on the fans out here that they're distracted by too many other things, the weather, it's a different type of mentality. But the bottom line is that the fans that are true Raider fans, the ones that come here, you can come here with 20,000 Raider fans and have a great showing. They have the excitement, they have the support they give to this team.
Raiders trailing for the first time. Hostetler and company begin at the 32. Little fumbled exchange on the snap, but it's complete to Harvey Williams. And Williams across midfield into Houston territory. 18-yard pickup from Hostetler to Williams.
And did you see Harvey? I mean, he's ripping it down that sideline, and when he's getting ready to take that shot, he could have just bounced out of bounds. Here we're going to see it again. Blitz up the middle. Eddie Robinson coming up, almost getting a shot on him. Ball to Harvey Williams. Watch him rip down the sidelines here. As Dishman hits him, he could have gone out of bounds, but no, he just said, you know what? I'm staying in. I'm going to get the yardage.
They mark him out at the Oiler 49. First and 10. Pitch to Williams. He's already got over 100 yards, and he'll tack on more. And here's a reminder that following this game on most of these stations, it's the all-new special Angels 2. And that'll be followed by the network television premiere of The Addams Family. Viewers on the West Coast will see these shows at their regularly scheduled times. The injured Houston Oiler is Lamar Lathan, number 57, being attended to.
Seems to be walking off all right, not too much pain.
Checking into the game is the rookie out of Arkansas, the Houston Oilers' first-round pick this year, Henry Ford, who came in only having played in 3 games and still looking for his first tackle. There's a look at Ford, 6'3", 284 pounds.
They're really looking forward to a lot out of him. I mean, they really feel he's going to be a guy that's going to develop for them in the near future.
Well, the Raiders at the Oiler 44. They have 2 timeouts. They trail by 4, 2:54 left. Hostetler with a lot of time, and he'll throw this one away well out of the reach of Darrell Lewis.
Well, with a couple interceptions already, wisely you get rid of that ball. You don't want to try and force it. You still got the time to get it down there. You're all right time-wise to travel 40 yards, but you don't want to make the mistake of trying to force something here and ending the game before you have a chance to finish it.
So 3rd down and 5. Big play here for the Raiders. Hostetler feeling the pressure, swings it out to Williams. He'll pick up the first down, make a nice cutback, and get up the sidelines. Harvey Williams down to the Oiler 29. Gain of 14.
Well, they have not only found a gem in Harvey Williams in his ability to play, in his talent. Here we're going to see Hostetler dropping the ball off. Good pressure. You know what? Hostetler will take 100 of those hits if he gets a completion at a time like that. Going back to Harvey, though, look at the way this guy's fighting. He is not only a talent, but he is a guy who wants to get things done. He wants to win, and that's the kind of attitude that he's going to pass on through his leadership to these other players. 1st and 10, ball at the 30. Williams again stutters at the line of scrimmage and brings it out for maybe a gain of 1. Harvey Williams has about 100. He's closing in on the 170-yard mark for all-purpose yards, rushing and receiving.
He's got 4 receptions for 37 yards. He's got 100, and with that game, probably about 130 yards right now in the ball game.
You see him, he just looked up at the clock and said, "I have 2 minutes left, I can hang."
Well, they're not about to take him out now. He is at the 130-yard mark. Raiders need a touchdown. Hostetler to the air, and open is Tim Brown, and he's got another first down. All of a sudden, the Raider offense has woken up.
What in the world was Al Smith doing in coverage on Tim Brown? Obviously his zone slipped behind him.
2-minute warning at the Coliseum. Raiders knocking on the door. On top, 14-10. Raiders with 2 timeouts left. Ball at the 11. First down and 10. They can pick up another first down. They would have to get, just about down to the 1-yard line. Need of a touchdown. A field goal won't get it done for the Raiders.
Concentration.
You know, just before that touchdown pass, I was going to say it's been the Harvey Williams, Tim Brown show, and Tim Brown caps it with an 11-yard touchdown reception from Hostetler.
Did you see the smile on Arshell's face? It's a very fleeting thing. It happens quickly, and our cameramen were able to catch it for posterity. What an incredible catch. What concentration.
Jager trying to make it a 3-point lead for the Raiders, and he does so. So Tim Brown, 6 catches, 69 yards, but none more important than the last 11. And what a catch.
When I say concentration, we're talking concentration on both Tim Brown and Jeff Hostetler. Hostetler forced out of the pocket. You'll see Ray Childress coming up in front, chase him out of the pocket. Hostetler looking, throw over the middle. Now watch Tim jump over 2 defenders. Both guys getting a shot on him.
Wow.
Tim able just to focus and hold on to that ball. Look at Jeff Hostetler. What a game, a hard-fought game, wrought with penalties, wrought with turnovers. Here's a guy with finally this feeling of relief that people just can't understand unless they've been out there.
All right, it's not over for Houston. They have 2 timeouts left, and they've got 1:50 to work with. You know, to elaborate on that point on Tim Brown we made earlier about, hey, I don't necessarily have the blazing speed. He got hurt in 1989. The doctor said, you know, you're probably not going to have the same speed. He says, hey, Doc, I don't care about the speed. I need the moves. I have to have the ability to cut. I don't need blazing speed, but we've seen it all today.
Right, and, you know, we've seen these games where Tim Brown has caught the ball, made the moves, made the big runs, and when people have gone to knock him down, he's not the guy that just falls down. He fights for the extra yardage. You know, he's got the mentality of a running back in a wide receiver's body. He gets out there and makes the extra yardage.
6th touchdown reception of the season for Brown, and Steve Jackson, the beat man for Houston from the 2. And Jackson gets no farther than the 16. So 84 yards of real estate for Houston to work with. Rob Fredrickson made an excellent special teams tackle for the Raiders. He's that rookie out of Michigan State who the Raiders are so high on, and he pins Houston back at its own 15, we'll call it. And what does Kevin Gilbride have in his playbook now? It's got to be in a hurry.
Well, what incredible misfortune. Here's a guy that has been able to, in the midst of not a really sterling performance, has been able to generate points enough to get the lead, and to have it just taken away from him like that.
Tolliver had his man, but dropping it was Gary Brown.
And Rob Fredrickson again all over him, had him covered to the outside. Great coverage, very tight on him. Raider defense really keyed up. They played a great game today. The Raider defense has played a very good game.
There he is, his 4th game as a starter. Fredrickson. And we asked Art Shell, what do you like about this guy? He said, this guy can run all over the field.
Yeah, they said in drafting and bringing him in, looking at this guy, he had the speed. He could outrun all these guys. They wanted him to use him so he could just cover the field from sideline to sideline and coverage like we just saw in Gary Brown. 2 good plays by him back-to-back. Tolliver passing, skips it in, incomplete. He wanted Pat Coleman. So now it's 3rd down and 10. Cody Carlson next to Gilbride. He's watched this game unfold and watched Billy Joe Tolliver get the start. But Carlson really the class guy. Still involved in the game. Still talking with Gilbride. Giving the offensive coordinators his input. And now Tolliver with just a couple of shots here. That one incomplete. He'll have one more shot to get the first down. Excellent play by Lionel Washington. It was intended for Ernest Givens. And here's Washington, a guy that's lost his starting job to Albert Lewis. Now watch this here. This is where you can see the timing is just not happening between Givens. He makes the break. The ball is just not coming when Givens is making the break back. You know, that's definitely a timing thing. You got to throw the ball before the cornerback has a chance to react. Lionel Washington has been making some incredible plays this season until he lost his job to Albert Lewis. That's got to be the best starter-backup combo I've ever seen.
All right, here we go. 4th and 10. Tolliver needs the first down. He can run for it, and he'll run for the sidelines, get the first down, and get out of bounds. You can't ask for a better play than that. Boy, stops the clock with 1:22 left. And quiets the Coliseum crowd.
They know that the tools are there. They know what this team has. They know that all of these quarterbacks that the Oilers have can throw the ball. They know in Hayward Jeffries, in Ernest Givens, and these guys have the ability to catch the ball and make some big plays. It hasn't happened to this point, but it can. 2
timeouts remaining for the Oilers. Art Shell probably never envisioned this tough a battle from a Round 6 team with quarterback problems. 3rd different quarterback they've started this season. Bucky Richardson has had a turn. Cody Carlson has had his. And now Tolliver with a chance. First down and 10. The ball at the 26. Incomplete. Intended for Givens. I think what's really been impressive about Tolliver today is not trying to force anything. If it isn't there, we've seen him throw the ball away a couple times.
Right. You see the Raider defense breaking into kind of to be Chester McLaughlin this time. He's the spy guy. What he'll do is he'll look for a running back to drop out of the backfield late or a scramble by the quarterback.
2nd and 10. Tolliver sidearms it, incomplete. Intended for Pat Coleman. James Trapp with a pretty nice play from his corner position.
You know, in this defense, what you lose in rush, you make up for in coverage. Here you see these guys just kind of Chester just kind of drifting there, making the play there, going after Tolliver. The ball just a little bit thrown behind. You know, it's tough running to your right, throwing it back to a guy going to your left to get that angle.
Tolliver has now missed 5 in a row. And on 3rd down and 10 is out of the shotgun. And it's complete far sideline. Raiders converge on the play, but number 80, Haywood Jeffries, hauls it in. Rob Fredrickson makes the stop. They move the chains. Good enough for the first down. We're inside a minute. Tolliver bringing the Oilers to the line of scrimmage quickly. They still have 2 timeouts left. And this one, not able to hold on as Jeffries stops the clock with 44 seconds to go.
You know, you were making a good point before. Tolliver really does show that he has some experience. He has some veteran leadership. He knows that this isn't the time to be forcing the plays. I mean, a forced throw can be as dangerous as an incomplete pass. More dangerous, I should say.
I think Billy Joe put it in his best Southern drawl. He said, "This isn't my first rodeo. This is his 29th NFL start." He's got time, just overshoots Pat Coleman. Coleman was open.
You can see the disgust in Billy Joe Tolliver's face. He knows he had him wide open, and he knows the ball was just off target a little bit. See Coleman across the ball thrown a little bit back and behind him. Good effort by Coleman to get up and try and make the snag, but just too far out of his reach.
Well, they've had the Oilers on the edge. They've had him in a couple of third down situations. Tolliver's been able to pick up the big yardage. Another third down and 10. Tolliver in and out of the hands of Derek Hoskins. Haywood Jeffries in the vicinity, but he never had a shot at it. Hoskins certainly did. Where was this one headed?
Well, he had a target in mind. It just a little hassle. He saw the guys come up and
just trying to throw it away.
Just trying to throw it. No, I think he actually was trying to hit the guys cross in the middle, but as you saw, the receiver didn't know if he should break back out of the coverage or continue on through it. And when he did that, it really threw Tolliver off.
Here we go. 4th down and 10. Tolliver, plenty of time. He's got another first down. This is Slaughter. Clock moving, 14-yard gain, and the Oilers use one of their last two to go. Has a career long of 54, but they'll have to get closer in from where they are now. They're at the Raider 46. Tolliver down the middle of the field. That was for Pat Coleman. Coleman well covered by the Raiders.
Yeah, Trapp and Hoskins had him right down the field.
And we'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching the Seattle Seahawks and San Diego Chargers, and the Chargers coming up with a big win, 35-15 over Seattle. And here at the Coliseum, Raiders clinging to a 3-point lead, 17 seconds left. Houston with one timeout left. It's 2nd down and 10. Tolliver throws it away again. Webster Slaughter, the intended receiver. That'll bring up 3rd down and 10, 12 seconds to go.
3rd and 10.
And we'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching the Jets and Colts. This game at the Coliseum turning out to be one of the best of the afternoon. Indianapolis with a 28-25 win over the Jets. Billy Joe Tolliver trying to get the Oilers their 2nd victory of the season. 3rd down and 10. They have one timeout. Goes to the sidelines. The ball is caught complete to Jeffries. And that's a first down.
And the amazing thing is that the Raiders know that that's all they can do. With one timeout in 12 seconds, they've got to get it to the sidelines to get him out of bounds. They allowed the receiver to make it to the outside, to get to the outside. Great catch. And Haywood Jeffries.
You saw Al Del Greco come on. They will spot this one at the 41. It'll be a 51-yard attempt with 6 seconds left.
Defender taking a swat at the ball, but Tim Brown being able to hold on and score the touchdown.
Del Greco 0 for 1 on 50-yard plus field goals this season. This will be a 52-yard attempt. Time runs out on the Houston Oilers, but not before Al Del Greco connects with the crossbar from 52 yards out. What did he need? 3-4 inches, Bob?
3 or 4 inches.
Over?
Could that have been? I mean, that was the way this game went for the Oilers. Great shot, great accuracy right down the middle.
Got plenty of leg into it, except for that margin.
Now the Oilers, and you see the reaction on the side of Billy Joe Tolliver, knowing that he did everything he could to try and get them down in range. You can see the disappointment. It has been a hard-fought game for the Houston Oilers. Up and down emotionally. Kevin Gilbride, we kept getting shots at him on the sidelines. You didn't know from one time to the next. He was, one time he's happy, one time he's down. LA Raiders just playing hard. And you would expected more points out of the Raiders, I think, from the way they were playing. They were a little bit more productive in the first couple of series and then kind of slacked off and laid back.
That close. 17-14. The Raiders hang on, and Tim Brown is the employee owners of Avis. Salute the game's MVP, the winner of today's We Try Harder award. It was this touchdown reception from Jeff Hostetler from 11 yards that gave the Raiders the advantage. Al Del Greco.
Time this season, their opponent, the Houston Oilers, looking to win their second game period of the year. They've had a tough time, especially on offense, scoring just 93 points in their 7 games to start the season. And getting to start, Billy Joe Tolliver hoping to change matters today, but it was the Raiders and Harvey Williams who struck first. Opening drive, Williams takes the handoff, goes 8 yards, big hole on the right side, TJ.
Yeah, the Raiders used a lot of motion early in their offense. Here you see Andrew Glover, the tight end. He comes in motion, gets a nice block to seal off the linebacker right there. And Harvey Williams, a nice job of slithering through for 8 yards.
So they keep it on the ground. Williams goes up the middle for 9 yards. Harvey Williams takes it in from 2 yards out. On the opening drive, 10 carries, 50 yards, and that touchdown, 7-0 Raiders. Late in the first half, Billy Joe Tolliver, that's not Billy Joe, this is Billy Joe, he gets hot. Hits Webster Slaughter for 19 yards. Then goes to Slaughter again for 14 yards. Then Billy Joe scrambles, hits Gary Wellman for a big 20-yard pickup, and that set up Tolliver. Scrambling, finds his way into the end zone at 7-all right before the half. In the third quarter, 10-7 Raiders. Chester McLaughlin strips Tolliver, and the Raiders recover. But Harvey Williams fumbles it right back to Houston. Art Shell couldn't have been too happy about that. In the fourth, still 10-7 Raiders. Tolliver nearly picked off by Dan Land. Oilers still alive. 3rd and 10. Billy Joe Tolliver goes back, throws a screen to Gary Brown, and they block the official, and Brown goes for 24 yards. Then on 3rd and 2, Tolliver to Haywood Jeffries, who beats Terry McDaniel for the touchdown. 14-10, Houston in the lead. The Raiders fight back, just over 2 minutes left. Hostetler to Tim Brown, gets us 17-14, Raiders back on top. Oilers the last gasp. 4th and 10, 31 seconds left. Tolliver hits Slaughter for 14 yards. Keep hope alive. That set up Al Del Crossbar. Oh, it's been that kind of year for the Oilers. 17-14 is the final. Tolliver 1 touchdown by air, 1 on the ground. Harvey Williams over 100 yards and a touchdown. The Raiders now move to 4-4. A big game for the Jets in Indy. The Colts going with a new starting quarterback, the Magic Man, Don Majkowski. He started off hot. This touchdown pass to Floyd Turner goes for 14 yards. 7-0 Colts. Oh, yeah, he's pumped. After an interception, more for the Magic Man. 2nd and goal from the 3. Takes matters into his own hands. 14-0 Colts, but the blocking made this happen, TJ.
At number 69 here, Randy Dixon with a tremendous block on Ronnie Lott right there at the goal line to get Majkowski into the end zone.
You see their Colts only had 2 touchdowns the last 3 games against the Jets. First quarter, they equal that. But then the Colts self-destruct. Marshall Faulk fumbles on the 2. James Hasty recovers for the Jets. Then Dual Brewer fumbles this punt, and the Jets recover. Then the Magic Man intercepted by James Hasty. Then Roosevelt Potts fumbles. The Jets recover. But this one was a questionable call, TJ.
Yeah, you take a look right here. You're going to see that Potts' knee is down right there clearly before the ball comes out. Should have been ruled down.
It's not a fumble. The last 6 quarters versus the Jets, the Colts have turned the ball over 8 times. Jets would convert. Boomer hits Art Monk. 14-7 Colts. Colts are 14-10 in the second half. Ronald Humphrey busts loose for a big, hard 30-yard gain. And that sets up Marshall Faulk from a yard out. 21-10 Colts. The Jets defense gets him back in it. Mo Lewis intercepts Majkowski and goes down the sideline, 18 yards of touchdown. 21-16 Colts. The Jets go for 2. And Esiason hits Rob Moore. And a 2-point conversion. Jets within a field goal. Marshall gives the Colts some breathing room on 4th and 1. Oh, he gets that a lot more jukes. Brian Washington and Aaron Glenn goes in for the 29 yards out. 28-18 Colts. Look at